Very good morning, dear students. Welcome back once again. How are you all, students? I hope you all are fine, safe, and healthy at home. Take care of your health, students. Stay home and stay safe. Okay, students, so let's start our today's session. Today, I would like to explain remaining important key elements of lesson number 4 of geography. And the name of the lesson is Composition and Structure of the Atmosphere. In the previous session, what we learned, student? In the previous session, we learnt about the different layers of atmosphere, right? In which we learnt about troposphere, stratosphere, thermosphere. Thermosphere is also known as ionosphere, mesosphere, and exosphere. In today's session, we are going to learn about the elements of weather. Yes. Rainfall, air pressure, snowfall, winds and storms, humidity and temperature conditions. These are the various elements that constitute the weather. Weather conditions affect us and our way of life. So, an understanding of weather helps in our daily lives. Aeroplane pilots, navigators, farmers, and fishermen are just a few people among many who need information about the weather to do their jobs well. Right, student? Aeroplane pilot, navigator, farmers, and fishermen, they require the information about the weather to do their job well. So we will now learn more about the elements of the weather in detail. So first element of the weather, that is air pressure. Yes, air has weight which presses down on the earth. The weight exerted means apply by a column of air on the surface of the earth, and it is known as air pressure. Air pressure decreases with increasing altitude. Altitude means what? Height. So as air goes up, its temperature is decreasing. Okay, air pressure decreases with increasing altitude. It is higher at the sea levels and gets lower with increasing in altitude. At sea level, air pressure is nearly 1.05 km per centimeter. Air pressure is measured by an instrument. It is called as barometer. A simple mercury barometer. It comprises a tube with one end open and placed in mercury. Mercury, you know, students, it is a silver white metal inside it. Okay. Yes, a simple mercury barometer, it comprises a tube with one end open and placed in mercury. As air has weight, it apply pressure on the mercury, making it rise in the tube. Normal atmospheric pressure at sea level is 760 millimeter or 30 inches of mercury. When expressed in millibar, it is 1013 millibars. If the mercury rises above this point, then we can say that the air pressure is high. But when it falls below this point, then we say that the pressure is said to be low. Second, that is the Android barometer. It does not have mercury. It is made up of thin metal drum from which air has been removed. The pressure of the outside air pushes the lid of the drum inward. The higher the air pressure, the more the lid is pressed in. In an Android barometer, the pressure on the lid is shown by a needle on a dial. Here you can look at this picture, student. Here you can see the needle. Yes, on a dial. Yes, this is the picture of Android barometer. Its Android barometer, it does not have mercury. It is made up of thin metal drum from which air has been removed, and the pressure of the outside air pushes the lid of the drum inward, and the higher the air pressure, the more the lid is pressed in. In a self-recording barometer, a drum is connected to a pen which records changes in pressure on a moving band of paper. So this is all about the air pressure. Now next one, that is winds. Winds are the horizontal movements of air caused by temperature changes, which in turn cause changes in air pressure. Air pressure increase with when temperatures are low and decrease when temperatures are high. Winds blow from region of low temperature and high pressure towards region of high temperature and low pressure. Coastal regions enjoy cool sea breeze as air blows towards the hot land during the day. Yes, student. At night, cooler and breeze blows out towards the sea. There are similar airflow patterns along lakeside also. While studying the weather, it is necessary to learn about the direction and speed of the winds. Wind is described or named after the direction from which it comes. A south wind blows from the south towards the north, and the east wind blows from the east toward the west. And wind direction is determined by an instrument. It is called as wind vane. Look at this picture, student. This is the picture of wind vane. Here wind speed is measured with this. Okay, the wind direction is determined by this instrument. It is called as wind vane, and wind speed is measured with an anemometer. The most common type of anemometer is cup anemometer. Okay, so the direction of wind is determined by an instrument. It is called as wind vane, and wind speed is measured in anemometer. What is anemometer? It is a device which is used for measuring wind speed. When the wind blows, it causes the anemometer to spin. Yes. Look at this picture of cup anemometer, student. This is the most common type of anemometer. When the wind blows, it causes the anemometer to spin, and it is connected electrically to a dial inside the weather situation. Wind speed is registered in meters per second or in knots. Strong winds do not blow continuously with the same degree of intensity, and after a while they become gentle before regaining force once again. So sometimes when the wind blows, it forms whirl. Means what? It is to move or make something move quickly round and round of dust or eddies. Eddies, it means the movement of wind in a circle. So it especially happen in areas where there are tall buildings. When the eddies lie in the direction of the wind becomes strong. But when the direction is opposite to the direction of wind, that time the wind becomes weak. Maybe student, you also have taken this experience, right? Yes, when the eddies lie in the direction of the wind, that time wind becomes more strong, and when the direction is opposite to the direction of wind, that time the wind becomes weak. When wind speed becomes extremely high, as in the case of storm or cyclones of Asia, that is hurricane cyclone. It is a cyclone which occur in the America, so they can cause widespread damage and destruction. Look at the picture of this cyclone, student. Now the next important key elements, these are winds may be classified into the following four categories. These are the types of wind. So it is classified into the four categories. These are permanent winds, seasonal winds, local winds, and variable winds. Now we will understand this one by one. What is permanent wind? What is seasonal wind? What is local winds? And what is variable winds? First one, that is permanent winds. It is also known as planetary winds. Okay. Now what is permanent wind, student? These winds blow all year round in a fixed direction. So trade winds that come from the east blow from subtropical high pressure zone to equatorial low pressure zones. These are the types of permanent winds. What are the permanent winds, student? The winds that blow all year round in a fixed direction. Okay. Westerly winds that come from the west blow from subtropical high pressure zone to subpolar low pressure zone, and the polar winds, it comes from the east blow from polar high pressure zone to subpolar low pressure zone. So these winds, their direction is fixed here, okay, all year round. So these winds are called as permanent winds. Now second one, that is seasonal winds. Now what are seasonal winds? Unlike permanent winds, they blow only during a particular season, and therefore these winds are called as seasonal wind or periodic winds. Okay, the monsoon winds, which are a good example of such winds, right student? They blow only on this monsoon wind only during the particular season, means in the monsoon season only. So these types of winds are called as seasonal wind, or we can call it as a periodic winds. Next one, that is local wind. These winds are confined to a small area and have certain characteristic features of their own. Example of local winds are Lu, which are hot, dry and dusty winds that blow during the hot, dry season in the northern plains of India. Okay students, do you understand what are local winds? Local winds means it's confined to a small area and have the certain characteristic features of their own. Okay, and the best example of local winds are Lu. Lu means the hot, dry and dusty winds. Okay, that blows during the hot and dry season. Now next, that is variable winds. These winds occur when cold air meets warm air. Okay, and their occurrence varies with time and place. Cyclones and anticyclones are the example of such winds. So here we understand the different types of winds, in which we understand about the permanent winds, seasonal winds, local winds and variable winds. Differences, I think you all understand it student. Permanent winds, these winds blow all year round in a fixed direction. Seasonal winds, they blow only during a particular season. Local winds, these are confined to small area and have certain characteristic features of their own. And variable winds, these winds occur when cold air meets with warm air. Okay, now the next important key elements, that is temperature. Air temperature of a particular place denotes the degree of hotness and coldness of air at that place, and temperature is measured in Celsius or Fahrenheit. Now let us understand how the earth is heated. The surface of the earth is heated by the sun's rays, right student? And the air above the earth's surface is heated by the heat reflected from the warm surface. The sun rays, the sun rays pass through the atmosphere quite easily. Though not all of the heat reaches the earth, some of it is reflected back to space and some is absorbed by clouds. Right student? So the sun rays that pass through the atmosphere, it quite easily, though not all of the heat reaches the earth, some of it reflects back to space and some is absorbed by clouds. The earth's surface is heated up only by the rays that reach it. Hot air being lighter rises and cool air descends to take its place. The cool air heated by the warm surface of the earth, it becomes lighter and rises. That is how air currents are created. If we will take the example student here in summer, the sun is high in the sky, therefore the amount of heat that reaches the earth's surface is more. Right student? If we will take the example of winter, in winters, the sun is low in the sky, right? And the rays slant towards the surface of the earth, due to which there is less heat. For these reasons, summer is always warmer than winter, right? Similarly, the sun reaches its highest position at the sky at midday. So generally we say at the midday the temperature is very hot, right student? As more of the sun's heat reaches the earth's surface at midday than any other time. So the hottest period of any day is afternoon, right? The temperature are lowest just before dawn. This is because the surface of the earth cools rapidly after the sun has set. So the temperature falls steadily between sunset and dawn. The mountains are always cooler than the plains. Why? Because the temperature decreases with increasing in altitude. Already I taught this student, altitude means height. So the temperature is always decreases with increasing in altitude. Temperature is measured by thermometer. The simplest thermometer is the mercury in glass or rod thermometer. When it heats up, the mercury in the bulb at the bottom of the thermometer expands and rises in a thin vacuum glass tube within the glass rod. When it cools, the mercury contracts and drops down in the tube, thereby depicting both maximum and minimum temperatures of the day. Yes, student, we are aware about it that temperature is measured by a thermometer. Had you seen this thermometer, student? Yes. The recording thermometer automatically records all temperature changes, and thermometers are put inside a screen shelter. Look at this picture, student. Thermometers are put inside a screen shelter. It is known as Stevenson screen, so that the true temperature in the shade can be measured. Now the next important key elements of this lesson, that is saturation point. What is saturation point? We will understand this. Air can hold only a certain amount of water vapor at a given temperature, right? When the air reaches its full capacity to hold water vapor, it is said to be saturated. Okay, understood, student? What is saturation point? See, air can hold only a certain amount of water vapor at given temperature, but when the air reaches its full capacity to hold water vapor, it is said to be saturated. So as the temperature of the saturated air falls, the water vapor in it condenses to form droplets. Droplet means small drop of liquid. Okay, so the droplet of water which float in the air. Millions of such droplets together form clouds, which are kept from falling by air currents. Clouds are grouped according to their shape and height. Some example of different types of clouds are stratus, cirrus, and cumulus. Altitude affects the shape of cloud. As air rises, it cools. Right, student? And clouds are formed, but when the air descends from a great height, it gets warmer and the clouds disappear. Yes, this is about the saturation point. Now the last important key elements of this lesson, that is precipitation. Yes, student, you are aware about this precipitation. Again, I will explain what is precipitation. Precipitation is any form of water in solid or liquid state that falls on the earth's surface, right? So precipitation can take several forms. Rainfall. Yes, rainfall occurs when droplets present in the clouds become too heavy to remain suspended in the air and fall down on the surface. When warm, moist air cools, it condenses to form thick clouds, which bring rainfall in the form of large drops of water. Yes, student, you know about this rainfall. Yes. Rainfall occurs when droplets present in the clouds become too heavy and to remain suspended in the air and fall down on the surface. When the drops are small, it is called drizzle. So what is drizzle? When these raindrops are very small, right? It is called as drizzle. And rainfall is measured by an instrument. It is called as rain gauge. This is the instrument. Rainfall is measured by this an instrument. Okay. In regions where hot air expands to rise up to high altitudes, it forms thick cloud that causes sudden torrential rainfall. It is called as conventional rainfall. Yes, what is conventional rainfall? That is a sudden rainfall. Okay. in some region where hot air expands to rise up to high altitude and it forms thick clouds, and that causes sudden rainfall. That is called as conventional rainfall. And there are two types, we can say. When high mountains come in the way of moist winds and force them to rise up their slopes and shade rainfall, it is called as relief rainfall or organic rainfall. And second one, that is when warm and cold air meet. The lighter warm air extends over the heavier cold air. It condenses about it resulting into cyclonic rainfall. These are the two types of conventional rainfall. First one, that is a relief or organic rainfall, and second one, that is cyclonic rainfall. Conventional rainfall means what, student? It is a sudden rainfall. Okay. And organic rainfall, when high mountains come in the way of moist wind and force them to rise up their slopes and shade rainfall, it is known as organic rainfall. And warm and cold air meet. The lighter warm air extends over the heavier cold air. It condenses about it and resulted into cyclonic rainfall. Now next one, that is, yes, snow. Snow is made up of flakes. Flakes, understood, student? Flakes means the thin piece of something, we can say. So it is made of flakes of tiny ice crystal that form a snow cloud. As air rises higher into the atmosphere, fine droplets are formed, and at a height where temperature is below freezing point, they turn into tiny ice crystals. These crystals grow in size to form snowflakes, and when they are heavy enough, they fall to lower heights. Look at the picture of the snow. It is made of flakes of tiny ice crystal that form a snow cloud, right, student? Now the next point, that is hail. Look at the picture of hail, student. Hail is made up of rounded lumps of ice, and it occurs only in cumulonimbus. It means a thundercloud. Okay. So hail is made up of rounded lumps of ice, and it occurs only in thunderclouds. Strong air currents inside the cloud carry the raindrops upward, and at a higher level the raindrops freeze into ice pellets. Pellets means a small rounded substance. So the strong air currents inside the cloud carry the raindrops upward, and at a higher level the raindrops freeze into ice pellets and hurtle up and down again and again. They get wrapped in many coats of ice and finally fall to the earth as hailstones. Yes, student? Had you seen these hailstones? Did you take the experience of hailstones, student? Okay. So here we understood about the different types of precipitation like rainfall, snow and hail. Yes, and what we learnt in today's session, we learnt about the elements of weather, in which we learnt about the air pressure, winds, right, student, and temperature. And also we understand the different types of winds, in which we understand about the permanent winds, seasonal winds, local winds and variable winds. We understood the difference between all these winds, right, student? And also we understand about the temperature, saturation point, and different types of precipitation, different forms of precipitation like rainfall, snow and hail. Like this way we cover up this lesson, student. I hope you all understand this lesson very well. Please note down the assignment. What you have to do? You have to draw a diagram of layers of the atmosphere and you have to label it. Okay, student? Yes, student, today's session is all about it. I hope you all understand today's session very clearly. If you have any doubt related to this lesson, you have to drop mail on the given mail ID which I already provided to you. Please note it down once again. That is the 8bct@pratibhaintschool.org. Okay, students? And I am going to send worksheet also through Prism. Please solve the worksheet. and send it on this given mail ID. Your assignment, your worksheet, and whatever doubts you have related to SST, you have to send your mail on this mail ID. Okay, student? And don't forget to write comment in the comment box, as it's going to consider your attendance. So simply write your name, standard and division, and mention there whether you understand today's topic, or you didn't understand it. Okay? Thank you and have a nice day, student.